Welcome to episode 7 of 3 plus 2 at 3, in which I foist upon you 3 original songs, a country cover that I like, a cover of a country classic song that I like, and an instrumental of some Celtic music. And finally, this week, we've got an extra bonus video at the end, so stick around after the 5th one. So I call this episode Pictures in My Mind. And, if you know that song Jonathan Bird does, if you live around here, where he says, picture in your mind, and Johnny Waken goes like this. Well, I got some pictures in my mind, and some of them have been embellished widely to come up with some songs. And this first song is a picture that it was put in my mind in 1982 when Eileen and I were driving all of our worldly possessions in a 1972 Dodge Dart Demon to California, where we lived from 1982 to 1990. And when we got to California, you go by Lake Tahoe, and then you hit this stretch where it's very high altitude, the car's sputtering, and you're going down to Auburn and Sacramento in a very steep grade. And I guess they're very worried about truck drivers losing control and losing brakes in that area. So they put very plain language signs up for them to read, and they got a bunch of apostrophes. And they say stuff like, let apostrophe ER, let her drift. And there was another one at a flat one where all the trucks were parked and letting the brakes rest a little bit. It said, let 'em cool, take 10. And there was another one that said, as you're going back on the road and going down, it said, don't crowd 'em. And for years and years and years, I thought, man, there must be a hidden meaning behind all those signs. I don't know what it is. And it wasn't until maybe 20 years later, around 2002, that my subconscious took over and made a truck driving song about all that. Wow, what's going on with all this flanging stuff here? Oh, I got something going on over here. I'm going to try it with this. Wow, getting off to a rocky start like last time. Oh, let's do it like that. Yeah, I'm trucking with a weight. I don't mean my freight. I crossed that California line where it's 8,000 feet down to nothing and almost next to no time. I better pay some attention to truck down the line. I better keep on reading them great big highway signs. Let her drift, let 'em cool. Son, don't you crowd 'em. Your brakes is overheating, and you're headed way downhill. Let her drift, let 'em cool. Son, don't you crowd 'em. That's no way to travel. You'll be in deep gravel if and you don't get killed. So I pulled that old truck to the side of the road to think about what she said to me. She said, I know I'm married to your best friend, but it's you I'd love to see. Well, I was halfway tempted, but this drive helped me think things through. Yes, them old signs got me in mind, and I know just what to do. Let her drift, let 'em cool. Sun, don't crowd 'em. Your brakes is overheating, and you're headed way downhill. Let her drift. Let 'em cool. Daddy, don't you crowd 'em. If it comes unraveled, you'll be in deep gravel. If you don't get killed. If it comes unravel, you'll be in deep gravel. If you don't watch what you do, you'll be in deep, whatever it rhymes with. If you don't watch it, you'll be in deep, whatever. If you don't get killed. How about that? All right, now. That's enough of that silliness. See what we got here. Hi there, Fred Demick. Hi, Rose. Monica. Suzanne. Thank you. Charlie, Peter, Larry. Lots of folks. Oh, man, this is great. Thanks so much for joining our little craziness here. All right, more pictures. Kevin Gostner, Jesse McGee. What's happening with that election out there? Doug, howdy. All right. Now, if I missed you, I'm sorry I did, because, man, there's a lot of folks on. Thank you. All right. Another picture in my mind goes back about 10 years before that, when I was in college. What's this rotary on stuff? Maybe this is... Let's see. Source piano. Man, oh man. Oh, I see. Here we go. Oh man, when you hit a button on this thing, sometimes you don't know what it is, and it goes a little crazy. Interrupting that seamless, timed entertainment extravaganza that is 3 + 2 = 3 at times. But hey, we'll just roll with it. All right. We got it figured out. All right, like I was saying, now go back another 10 years to when I was in college and wanted to make a little beer money while I was playing softball. And so I learned the fine art of Buckin Bales, helping a local dairy farmer put in his hay. And here's a little story about that. Jim Herman thought this was the closest to Grateful Dead chord progression I had gotten in any song. So we'll see. For a high and a tie, take 'em to the barn, stack 'em till they say it's her on Hurley Staten's farm. Well, we could surely use the help. We'll give you 3 cents a bale. You toss 'em up from the ground and my boys will stack 'em well. And there's 10 acres out there, and the field is good and dry. And we stay right to it. We'll get finished by and by. For high and a tie, take 'em to the barn, stack 'em till they say it's her on Hurley Staten's farm. Hey there, college boy, you with all the daggone brains. What you doing out there in the sun? You're gonna melt that way. Well, I didn't say a doggone word. I just looked back with a wink. Slid over into the shade, took a big old drink. For a high and a tie, take 'em to the barn. Stack 'em till they say it's her Hurley Staten's farm. Sore arms and well-earned hunger, time to go get fed. Though Kendall didn't talk much, you remembered what he said. After the best fried chicken that had ever passed my throat, they asked him what kind of pie you want. He said, both. For a high and a tie, take 'em to the barn. Stack 'em till they say it's her at Hurley Staten's farm. Well, Physics 107 was waiting in a week. All this honest labor was just beer money for me. But every day of every year they had to milk them cows. Daydreaming in a lecture hall in Champaign, Illinois. I couldn't fathom how. For a high and a tie, take 'em to the barn. Stack 'em till they say it's her at Hurley Staten's farm. Stack 'em till they say it's her at Hurley Staten's farm. All right, another little picture for you from my past. Hello there, John Bradfield, doing all the good for the citizens of the United States. Jeff T. Lander. Hello, David Sulson. How are you? James and Monica are both here. Okay. Thanks, Charlie, for the feedback. I'll back off from the mic a little bit. And thanks, Fred, for that, too. Let me know after this one whether I backed off enough. Hey, I forgot to mention one piece of explanation in that song, in the chorus, where I say, stack 'em till they say it's her. Well, if you were the guy in the barn stacking up the bales and they were throwing them up on a conveyor belt or maybe just throwing them through some little window on the barn wall, you couldn't see how many were left on the wagon. And when they quit coming, somebody would yell up, oh, that's her, that's her. Is that her? Yeah, that's her. Meaning the wagon was empty, you go back to the field again. All right, I'm going to do a song, one of my favorite country songs. A song that was made popular, I think, in the late 80s, early 90s by Lionel Cartwright. And I swear, you ever hear a song and you say, my God, that song could not be about anybody else but me. I mean, that song is such a perfect picture of a time in my life that, did I ever meet this guy? I got to ask him someday. So anybody knows anybody who knows Lionel Cartwright, I want to ask him if I ever met him, because I swear this song is about me. I'd like to think. Anyway, this is a photograph of me maybe about 10 years before that, somewhere around 1963, 64, listening to the St. Louis Cardinals on a transistor radio late at night, spending my whole allowance on 9-volt batteries. and having to get another one because I fell asleep listening to the San Francisco Giants game that didn't start until 10 Central Time. I had a 6 transistor when I was a kid. Under my pillow, I kept it hidden. And when the lights went out and no one could see, over the airwaves the world came to me. I'd search through the stations till I found a game I knew how they'd hit by the sound of their names. Those sluggers hit homers, those pitchers threw smoke, and I watched it all on my radio. I watched it all on my radio. At the crack of the bat, I knew how far it'd go. I watched it all on my radio. With the ball game over and the wrap-up complete, I'd search through the static till I found a beat. The Beatles and Creedence, the Stones and the Byrds. You should have seen all those groups that I heard. And on Saturday night, when the skies were all clear, a station from Nashville sometimes would appear with steel guitars and soft southern twang. The stars of the Grand Ole Opry would sing. And I had a seat on the very front row. And I watched it all on my radio. I watched it all on my radio. And round about midnight, some preacher came on to tell me what's right, to tell me what's wrong. It was only a test, the sound of the beat. Only a test, a voice would repeat, and the national anthem would rock me to sleep. I had a 6 transistor when I was a kid. Over under my pillow, I kept it hid. And when the lights went out and no one could see, over the airwaves the world came to me. And I had a seat on the very front row. And I watched it all on my radio. I watched it all on my radio. All right, now. I tell you what, I love, love, love that song. Durham native Don Schlitz has written about half of the songs that I'd have to say. I absolutely love that song. Then Don Schlitz must have had a hand in it. And he had a hand in that when he co-wrote that song with Lionel Cartwright. And all right, Celtic instrumental part of the program. I'm going to play on this key of D tin whistle here. That was made by a guy named Michael Burke, who sells fine penny whistles that come out of southern Illinois where he lives, maybe 80 or 100 miles south of where I grew up. And I'm going to play you two tunes that conjure up pictures in my mind. First is an Irish jig called the Cliffs of Moher, and M-O-H-E-R, and it's in County Clare. They're hundreds of feet up over the Atlantic, and it's a gorgeous sight. And the second one is a 3-part reel that I wrote called Trip to Seagrove. And that one goes out to Michael Mahan and Mary down there who do wonderful pottery there, all the McCandlesses, David Stempley, Nancy, all those folks down there in Seagrove. This is kind of for you guys. All right, start with the Cliffs. All right. Enough of that one. All right. Fred says he got his transistor radio on the shelf today. Hey. Hi there, Mary. Thanks. Thanks, Charlie. So I'm gonna do you one more song. And this is definitely a picture in my mind, an indelible picture that sticks from the time I lived in the Washington, D.C. area and worked at 499 South Capitol, just a few blocks south of Capitol. So for lunch, we would walk over to this place called the Tune Inn, which was really kind of a strange place because in Washington, D.C., you have all these kind of fern bars and stuff. But there was this place that was a very kind of rural kind of place that had nothing but cheeseburgers and fries. And it was kind of, maybe 50 people would fit in the place. And the waitress who worked there would try to keep the line moving at lunch by yelling at people. And which was kind of funny because the people she was yelling with were Capitol Hill lobbyists, lawyers, people like that, who flocked to the place to get yelled at. So what's the psychology of that? But anyway, she always cracked me up and always will crack me up. And so this song is about her. Come on, people, let's go. Can't you see there's a line? Eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. You're driving me out of my mind. On Capitol Hill, there are those who get a thrill. They'll say who they say they know, and they dress to impress for the test of success as their self-importance grows. From morning to noon, all afternoon they schmooze and they hobnob, working every hour in the halls of power to cajole, mislead, and rob. But on Pennsylvania Street, just a bit southeast, there's a place where they know their beat. These pretentious punks flock there for lunch, looking for a bite to eat. And with one little glower, they know who's got the power, and she stands about 5'9". I am embellishing, but not that much. Every lobbyist's face will be put in his place over a plate of cheeseburgers and fries. Come on, people, let's go. Don't you know there's a line? Eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. You're driving me out of my mind. And her office of power is scattershot, showered. Every inch has something there. There's a cipher natty bow and a sombrero whose saran wrap's darker every year. And there's two deer butts and they got body parts that tells you which one is the men's. But don't go in there and dawdle, or you might just ought to get a what for from her again. Come on, people, let's go. Don't you know this line? Eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. You're driving me out of my mind. If you've never been there, you better beware. It's on the wall, you're supposed to know. And when she comes in with her pad and pen, you better be ready to go. I knew a dude who asked for a menu and she just stomped right off. I'll be back, you big dumbass, when you decide what the hell you want. Come on, people, let's go. Don't you know there's a line? Eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. You're driving me out of my mind. So hear my appeal, people, be real, imposters are exposed. You might think that your shit don't stick, but the answer's right under your nose. When I think back then to the old tune-in, it always makes me laugh. They had it coming, a redneck woman could tear them lawyers in half. Come on, people, let's go. Can't you see there's a line? Eat up, eat up, eat up, eat up. You're driving me out of my mind. Second chance on the trumpet part. Redemption on the trumpet. All right, thank you, everybody. Stick around because that's the last song, but I got one more thing to show you, and I want to tell a little story before I show it to you. So here we are on our anniversary in 2018, and Eileen hands me this wrap package which has what's on that picture in it. I don't know if you can see it, but it says, Waltz for Tim and Eileen's 35th anniversary. And I said, well, how the heck did you come about getting that? That's got to be the coolest present ever. Said, well, our friend Mara Shea was going to Scotland working on an advanced degree and had a Kickstarter going. And one of the levels of her Kickstarter was she would compose a tune in your honor. And so Eileen took her up on her Kickstarter. She had it ready by our anniversary, and bingo, there it was. And so we did a little video of it, so it helps to be a video, so I can play like a few parts at once. But I'm going to leave you with that, and before I do hit the video, let me just say thanks again. It's an honor for people to listen to original songs. It never gets old. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you hit that share button and let other people know about it, that'd be appreciated too. But again, mainly I'm just really tickled that you're listening, and I appreciate it very much. Here goes with the waltz. What happened? Oh no.